In this video, we're going to be looking at Ableton's new Echo module and creative applications in which we can use it. And the reason why I wanted to showcase this is that it's such a versatile unit. It's not just like a delay unit. As you can see here on the top, I've listed these different ways in which you can look at it. So you can use it ambiently, so you can use it for like reverb and things like that. Ping pong delays, tape delays, dub delays. So if you make a dub techno, this is like an amazing little unit for getting really kind of lush, dubby sounds using the filter and stuff. Also, we've got a lot of modulation settings, like with the filter LFO, and you can also use it as weird stereo effects and flange and chorus style effects. But the cool thing is, like, yeah, you can use it for all those different types of things, but you can combine them as well. So, like, don't forget, it's all in one unit. It can be all 5 of these fins in one unit, and you can use it in quite experimental ways as well. So let's get stuck in and have a quick look at the kind of things we can do with Ableton's new Echo unit. So for this first one, we're going to be just using a simple bass stab, which I've took from the Aurora pack, and we're going to add a massive kind of like reverby sound to this. And the reason why this is cool to do it with the Echo is that when you switch it on, you've got the delay settings. So what we've done is we've brought the feedback right down, and it's going to delay the bass tone by an eighth. So the bass hits, then it delays it, and then the reverb happens. So it's like a really long pre-delay, much longer pre-delay than you'd get on some reverb units. So let's have a go ahead and have a quick listen to what this is doing to this bass sound. So here's the bass sound. So it's such a lush, deep, ominous kind of like tone. I love that. And the reason why you get such a nice tone as well is because you play around with the filter settings here and the resonance settings. So you can see I boosted it in the mids. Again, like I said, really good for kind of dub techno, this unit. As you'll see later on, we start playing with a dub delay. So yeah, what I've done really is I've just played around with this left section. So I've added in the eighths there. I've played around with the filter, so I've like filtered the sound a little bit of the delay. And then finally, we go over to the reverb here. So this is what it sounds like with it off. Just get like just a normal delay, and you put it up and you get the reverb. And you can choose whether you want it to be a pre-reverb, post-reverb, so after the delay, or feedback. And I've gone for post, so the delay happens, then the reverb happens. And you can play around with the decay settings there, so we can make it even longer. So that's really cool if you're trying to make like a pad sound, so we can like turn the decay up and render that out and maybe sidechain it. So you get a really nice way to create like nice pad sounds from different sounds within your project. So there's the first way in which you can use the Ableton's Echo, which I found really useful. So the next one we're going to look at is a ping pong setting, and we're going to be looking at this sound here. And to add ping pong onto that sound, all you've got to do is go over to the right section and switch it from stereo to ping pong. And that means that the delay is going to move from left to right. So you've got this kind of nice stereo effects going on. And let's just have a play around with that and see what kind of effects we can get out of it. So you can change the settings here. You can unlink them as well, so you can have different settings on each one. And obviously I've got it set to dotted right now and synced up, but you can turn the sync off. You can play around with the time settings, like a tape delay, or you can change them to notes and triplets. And the 16ths one's quite cool actually. So when you put them on 16ths, you can scroll through these. Some really cool rhythmic settings there. Let's put it back on dotted actually and just go to 16ths. And another thing that I want to mention is that you can go through the presets within Ableton. So I found this really cool one, Digital Pong, which works really well with this sound. And you can stack these up as well. So let's just have a listen to this. So yeah, I just feel like with this unit, you can get some really kind of like spacey tones and layers that add up to the original sound. I really like that. So let's move on to the next one, which is my favorite actually, which is to use it as a dub delay. I think it just serves really well for this this purpose. And let's go ahead and listen to the sound that we're going to be playing with. So it's just this percussive loop from the Origins pack. Absolutely love that sound, and the reason why I've got it, like how I've gone about it to get it to sound like a dub delay, it's all in the kind of the filters here. So you kind of bringing them in and sculpting a sound using the resonance as well. Let's just have a quick listen to it wet and hear what this sounds like with on and off. So I'll switch the filter off and on. And it's all in the timing as well, so I've got it set to eighths and I've dotted it, and I've also kind of delayed the right channel as well. So if you play around with these settings here, you can change the delay of the left or right, and that gives you like a nice pseudo stereo effect. And the other thing I've done is if you go to modulation, you can play around with the modulation settings, and here you've got the modulation for the filter. So when you bring that up, I've set it up here, if you bring that up, you can start to modulate the movement of the filters. And the other cool features to add to this kind of dub delay sound is obviously the reverb. So I've got a little bit of reverb set in there as well. And another thing that I've done is, you might have noticed on the left, I've set it up as an audio effects rack. And I've sent some of these settings to these knobs here so we can play around with it. And I've got these set up to low pass frequency. So we can move up the frequency in the middle, you can see that moving, give me more control over that. And we've got the filter modulation set up, so you can see there, as I start to bring this up, it brings that up. That's a really cool effect that I've just found out, I'll show you that in a second. And we've got feedback, so I'm able to play around with that. And you'll hear how that is quite a cool little effect for dub techno and or dub reggae or anything like that you're making. And I'll show you that in a second. And then we've got the reverb level as well, so I'm able to manipulate that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the sound and play around with a couple of these settings so you can get an idea of how we can play around with this in a track. Yeah, really cool little plugin. Obviously, I've only got 4 parameters set up there. You can go ahead and just start to manipulate more of these as well. Obviously, like you've got the decay time of the reverb, so you could potentially bring that reverb in. And then when you're building up to like a build or a drop, you could start to bring up the decay. And then bring it back and bring the feedback back and things like that. Yeah, it's great, and I can't wait to start using that a lot more, playing around with tracks and things like that. It's such a cool little tool to use as a dub delay. Let's look at the next one. So we're going to look a bit more closely at this LFO section, which we used a little bit in that dub delay trick. So we're going to be messing around with this sound here. Really nice little synth loop taken from the factory pack. And what I've done here is I've just set up eighths, like dotted delays here. And what I'll do is just for the demonstration so we can hear what it sounds like without the modulation, I'll bring that down. So it's a really nice little ping pong delay. And what we're going to do is we're going to play around with the filter. So we're going to modulate the filter, and the left and right channels are different. So you can see here, like it's offset, so it's not like this, which should just be like on and off. The channels are different. So like you could put an auto filter on, but it wouldn't have this same effect where it's kind of like you've got two filters for each channel, and it just sounds great. So let's have a quick listen to this, and I'll show you what that sounds like. So it's really wobbling and kind of like moving around now. And obviously we've got this set to sine wave, but you can switch it to random. Let's try that. Yeah, I love that. So that just adds like more movement and randomness, rather than just having like a ping pong delay that just moves the same throughout the track. Like using this modulation, it just adds more depth and kind of like ever-evolving movement to it. So also let's have a look at this delay modulation here as well. Let's start to dial this in. So yeah, really, really wonky when you push it all the way up, but I think like a little bit, like maybe 5% or something, it just adds that kind of like old school tape delay effect, just a little bit of fluctuation within the delay as well. Yeah, I really like that. So let's have a quick listen before and after. Yeah, that's awesome. Just such nice movement, and just a lot more going on than a normal delay sound. And let's have a look at the final example. So on this one, we're going to use the unit as like a flange or chorus effect. It seems to me like a mixture of the two. I'm going to be playing around with this sound here. So let's go ahead and turn the echo unit on. And what I've done to kind of get that kind of chorusy, metallic-y stereo effect sound is to bring the time right down to 1 milliseconds. And you can also offset the times of left and right as well, or switch it to ping pong. And feedback has a lot to play around with as well. When you start to bring it up, it intensifies the chorus effect. So let's just go ahead and have a quick listen to what this is doing to the sound. So you might be thinking, well, why don't you just use a flanger? So you could use Ableton's flanger, but the reason why I think this is worth pointing out is that this is like a flanger now, but then you can turn it into a delay. So it's like a flanger morphing into the delay sound. So let's start low, and I'll start to dial it right up and turn it into a delay, and then back into a flanger again. Yeah, I love that. So cool. It's like really, really trippy, and obviously just the idea that you can morph it into that sound, maybe on a build or like a drop down or something like that. It's really, really cool. And again, like I'll just quickly show you this as well before we wrap up. The offsetting. So I'll just play around with the offsets of the left and right channel, and you can hear what that does to the sound. It gives you like different flavors. So what that's doing is creating like a has effect. So it's delaying the left and right channel, and as we pull it apart, you might have noticed that like it gets wider. There's like a pseudo widening effect. So like the right channel is delayed more than the left, and it makes you think that the sound is wider. And also, if you listen to monitors, it might appear that the sound is like moving more to the left than the right. So that's what I really like about this unit. I mean, we've gone through 5 different kind of styles that I like to use it for. But then you're not kind of limited. You can combine all of these effects as well. So why not do like a weird flangy effect mixed with like dub delay modulation on the filter, and then start to bring in like the reverb as well. So yeah, it's just like an all-in-one kind of like really versatile effects unit, not just a delay plugin. And I'm sure I've only just scratched the surface here. So that kind of brings me on to my next question, which is, how are you using this Echo unit, if you're using it at all? Have you found out ways in which you can twist it and manipulate it differently to what I've done here? I probably only just scratched the surface with this thing. There's still a lot more to explore with it. I would love to know, so please drop us a comment in the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you next time.